Somewhere around 2 years ago, a steel called MagnaCut showed up and quietly humiliated most of what the fixed blade market thought it knew. Not with a press release, not with a celebrity collaboration, with a periodic table. Larrin Thomas, a metallurgist, not a marketer, published the data. MagnaCut's alloy chemistry produces a steel that simultaneously beats high-end stainless for corrosion resistance, beats most tool steels for toughness, and delivers edge retention that competes with powder metallurgy options costing significantly more to produce. In theory, it was too good to be true. In practice, every field tester who put it through serious work came back saying the same thing. The data was right. The problem is what happened next. MagnaCut became a buzzword. Knife companies started stamping it on blades without putting serious thought into grind geometry, heat treatment protocol, or blade design, because they knew the name alone would sell. The result is a market full of MagnaCut knives, where maybe 3 out of 10 actually deliver what the steel is capable of, and the rest are just capitalizing on the hype while the steel does all the reputational work. That is exactly why we built this video. We spent months in the field with 7 MagnaCut fixed blades, battening, carving, processing game, building shelters, starting fires, abusing edges, and documenting everything. What we found was that the knife that comes in at number 1 is one that almost nobody is talking about, and 2 of the most marketed options on this list barely made the cut, starting at number 7 and counting down to number 1. These are the MagnaCut fixed blades that are actually worth your money in 2026. Number 7. Civivi Tamashii fixed blade. Price, around $75 blade. 3.48 inches steel. MagnaCut origin, China. The Tamashii is the most counterintuitive knife on this list. It is made by Civivi, a budget-friendly brand most people associate with entry-level folding knives, and it costs $75, which in MagnaCut terms is genuinely cheap. The reason it lands at number 7 rather than off the list entirely is that it does something that embarrasses knives costing twice as much. It actually gets the heat treatment right. Civivi worked with a specialized heat treatment facility for the MagnaCut run, hardening the Tamashii to approximately 62 to 63 HRC, which is a range where MagnaCut's toughness and edge retention advantages converge. Most budget knives running premium steels cut corners on heat treatment because the process is expensive and the marketing works regardless. Civivi did not. And you can feel the difference the moment you put the Tamashii against wood. The 3.48-inch blade is a modified drop point with a hollow grind. A sensible choice for a compact field knife intended for cutting and slicing tasks rather than heavy processing. The hollow grind is thin behind the edge in a way that makes the Tamashii feel like a scalpel for feather sticks and food prep, but is not so thin that battening becomes a liability. In field testing, the edge held its keenness through carving sessions that would have required touch-ups on comparable knives running lesser steels, and the MagnaCut's corrosion resistance performed exactly as promised. Zero oxidation after 2 days of rain camping without oiling. The G10 handle scales are textured sufficiently for wet hand grip without creating the hot spots that overly aggressive texturing produces in extended sessions. The Kydex sheath is functional without being excellent. The Tamashii sits at number 7 because its compact blade size genuinely limits its capability in heavy tasks. Battening through dense hardwood requires more passes than the blades above it in this ranking, and shelter building with a sub-4-inch blade demands a patience that longer options eliminate. But as an introduction to MagnaCut field performance at a price that does not require financial commitment, the Civivi Tamashii makes a completely honest argument that premium steel does not require premium pricing, and that is a genuinely valuable thing for this market to have available. Number 6. Bradford Guardian 3.5. Price, around $170 blade. 3.5 inches steel. MagnaCut origin, USA. This is where you show the side-by-side size comparison with the Tamashii. Bradford Knives is a small Rhode Island manufacturer that has been making fixed blades for serious users since 2012, and the Guardian line is their flagship series, a family of knives built around a single recurring insight. The best field knife is the one whose dimensions disappear in your hand after 10 minutes of work. The Guardian 3.5 in MagnaCut earns number 6 on this list for reasons that have nothing to do with the steel. Bradford's MagnaCut heat treatment protocol and their saber grind geometry are the actual story here. And they're a story that most reviewers miss because they are too focused on steel names to notice the execution. Bradford heat treats their MagnaCut to the upper end of the optimal range and applies a saber grind that positions the primary bevel higher on the blade than most production knives attempt. The result is a geometry that is simultaneously stronger at the edge apex than a hollow grind and more slicey than a flat grind, hitting a practical middle point that experienced field users recognize instantly as the correct answer for a compact working knife. In battening tests, the Guardian 3.5 held up through splitting sessions that would have damaged the edge geometry of hollow ground knives in the same size class. In carving tests, it produced feather sticks with less resistance than any other blade under 4 inches in this ranking. The handle is a G10 or natural canvas micarta construction, depending on the configuration, and Bradford's ergonomic shaping is among the best in production fixed blade manufacturing. It fills the hand completely without feeling oversized, and the absence of sharp jimping or aggressive finger grooves means that grip pressure shifts naturally through long carving sessions without creating fatigue points. The end satin sheath is excellent. The Guardian 3.5 sits at number 6 rather than higher purely because 3.5 inches of blade is a genuine limiting factor when real field demands scale up. The knives above it give you more steel to work with, and in real wilderness use that margin matters consistently enough to separate them in the ranking. Number 5. Benchmade Raghorn. Price, around $230 blade. 4.2 inches steel. CPM MagnaCut origin, USA. Most people know Benchmade for folders. The Raghorn is the company's serious fixed blade statement, and it arrived with enough skepticism from the fixed blade community to fill several forum threads. Because Benchmade's folding knife reputation does not automatically transfer to fixed blades, and the knife world has a long memory for companies that overprice mediocre products using premium steel names. The Raghorn survived that skepticism, not because of Benchmade's marketing, which is considerable, but because the knife itself holds up when you test it against the conditions that separate good tools from expensive ones. At 4.2 inches, the Raghorn hits the practical sweet spot for a field knife that needs to handle everything from fine food preparation to moderate battening without requiring a second tool. Benchmade applies their flat saber grind, a geometry proprietary to their fixed blade production, which creates a blade that is thinner behind the edge than a traditional saber grind but maintains more material at mid-blade than a full flat grind. In carving tests, this geometry produced results closer to a Scandi-influenced blade than a typical American hunting knife, which surprised field testers who expected Benchmade's fixed blade execution to lean more conservative. Edge retention across 2 hours of sustained carving was exceptional. The MagnaCut performed at the top of the range we expect from properly heat-treated examples, and Benchmade's heat treatment clearly meets that standard. The handle is a textured G10 construction with a palm swell that positions naturally under load, and the handle-to-blade balance is well considered for a knife of this length. The included bolt-Heron sheath is fully adjustable for carry angle and drops into a secure locking position that does not rattle under movement. The Raghorn sits at number 5 because $230 is a meaningful price point for a 4-inch fixed blade, and the knives above it deliver either comparable or superior field performance at lower cost, which, when the ranking is about actual field value rather than brand prestige, is the only metric that matters. Number 4. Spyderco Bow River MagnaCut. Price, around $185 blade. 4.35 inches steel. MagnaCut origin, USA/Japan. Good time to talk directly about MagnaCut corrosion resistance. Show the water test footage. Spyderco's fixed blade catalog is smaller than their folding knife lineup and receives proportionally less attention, which means the Bow River in MagnaCut is one of the most undervalued fixed blades in the current market. Spyderco brings to their fixed blades the same commitment to blade geometry precision that defines their folders. They do not make a grind decision without data behind it, and the Bow River's full convex grind is the product of deliberate engineering rather than convention or cost-cutting. The convex geometry on MagnaCut is particularly effective because it allows the edge to be ground thinner overall than a saber or flat grind, while maintaining more material behind the apex, which translates directly to better cutting performance without sacrificing the edge strength that MagnaCut's toughness characteristics make possible. In field testing, the Bow River MagnaCut produced the best slicing performance of any knife in the 4 to 4.5 inch blade class in this ranking. Not by a small margin, but by the kind of margin that you notice the first time you push it through a birch log or pull it through a rope under tension. The 4.35-inch blade length is long enough for meaningful battening while short enough to maintain the dexterity needed for precision carving tasks. And the slightly upswept tip geometry provides a piercing capability that flat-tipped options in this class cannot match for emergency use. Edge retention across our standardized 2-hour carving protocol placed the Bow River at the top of this field, consistent with MagnaCut operating at optimal heat treatment parameters. The FRN handle, Spyderco's fiberglass reinforced nylon construction, is lighter than G10 or micarta alternatives, which some field users appreciate and others find unsubstantial. The bidirectional texture provides reliable grip in wet conditions. The included sheath is a reinforced nylon construction that is functional without being exceptional. The Bow River MagnaCut sits at number 4 because the 3 knives above it offer specific advantages in durability, handle quality, or blade geometry that give them a measurable edge in real extended field use. But as a demonstration of what MagnaCut can achieve in the hands of a manufacturer who actually understands convex geometry, the Bow River is required viewing. Number 3. Bark River Bravo 1 Field MagnaCut. Price: around $310 blade. For 0.9 inches steel. MagnaCut origin: USA. Number 3 is where this ranking stops being about compromises and starts being about what MagnaCut looks like in the hands of people who have been thinking about fixed blade performance for longer than most YouTube channels have existed. Bark River Knives has been making hand-finished convex ground fixed blades in Escanaba, Michigan since 2002, and the Bravo 1 Field is their most field-tested design. A collaboration between the company's manufacturing capability and the demands of professional wilderness instructors who needed a blade that could function as a primary tool for weeks in remote terrain. The MagnaCut version of the Bravo 1 Field represents the best argument for what happens when an excellent steel meets an excellent manufacturing process. Bark River's hand-applied convex grind is finished by individual craftspeople rather than a CNC machine. And the result is a grind consistency and apex geometry quality that production manufacturers cannot replicate at scale. At 4.9 inches, the blade length gives you genuine capability for the demanding tasks that separate a field knife from a camping knife. Sustained battening through dense hardwood, processing large game, building debris shelters, clearing vegetation. In every one of those categories, the Bravo 1 Field MagnaCut performed at a level that outpaced every knife below it in this ranking. And it did so without requiring any edge maintenance across 2 full days of continuous hard use, which is the most direct evidence of what properly executed MagnaCut heat treatment achieves in real conditions. The handle options include stabilized wood, canvas micarta, and multiple synthetic materials, all hand-finished and ergonomically excellent. The balance point sits just forward of the handle, giving the Bravo 1 Field a positive chopping feel without the nose heaviness that longer blades can produce. The leather sheath is hand-stitched and built to last longer than the knife will stay in fashion. Number 3 rather than higher, because the 2 knives above it represent specifically different things. Not better overall execution, but more specialized excellence in directions that certain field users will prioritize. If neither of those specializations matters to you, the Bark River Bravo 1 Field MagnaCut might actually be your number 1. Number 2. White River Knives Sendero Pack Knife MagnaCut. Price: around $200 blade. For 0.25 inches steel. MagnaCut origin: USA. White River Knives is the kind of manufacturer that gear people who do their homework know about and everyone else has never heard of. And that asymmetry is the most honest possible signal of where this company sits in the quality distribution of American fixed blade production. Located in Orange Park, Florida, White River has been building precision fixed blades with a small team and an obsessive focus on heat treatment since 2012. And their MagnaCut implementation is, by the data we collected, the most precise and consistent of any production manufacturer currently running the steel. The Sendero pack knife at 4.25 inches is purpose-designed for the hunter and backcountry user who needs a blade that transitions seamlessly from precision work, caping, skinning, detailed food processing, to moderate field utility tasks without requiring a blade change or compromise. White River applies a modified flat grind to the Sendero that is thinner behind the edge than any other flat grind MagnaCut option we tested, and this geometry decision, combined with their heat treatment protocol targeting 62 to 63 HRC, creates an edge that performed at the absolute top of our retention testing across every material category we measured. In fine cutting tasks specifically, thin feather sticks, precision game processing, food prep under challenging conditions, the Sendero MagnaCut produced results that field testers described as the clearest demonstration of what this steel is actually capable of when someone bothers to execute it properly. The burlap micarta handle is a White River signature, shaped with a subtle palm swell and finger groove positioning that places your hand identically every time you pick the knife up, which matters more than most people realize during extended use when fatigue starts affecting grip consistency. The Kydex sheath with adjustable belt loop is genuinely excellent field carry hardware. The Sendero MagnaCut sits at number 2 rather than number 1 because the knife in first place solves a specific problem that the Sendero, excellent as it is, does not address. And that problem turns out to be the one that field users encounter most frequently when they're actually living out of pack rather than testing knives with a control protocol. Number 1. Survive. Knives GSO 4.7 MagnaCut. Price, around $285 blade. For 0.7 inches steel, MagnaCut origin, USA. Slow down here. This section is the payoff. Let it breathe. The knife that earned number 1 on this list is not the one with the best marketing, the largest Instagram following, or the most YouTube reviews. It is the one that solved a problem that every other knife on this list handles adequately, but none of them handles completely. The problem of versatility at the extreme end of the use spectrum. The Survive. Knives GSO 4.7 and MagnaCut is a fixed blade built by a company in Nampa, Idaho that has been making serious user knives without fanfare or endorsement deals since 2010, and the GSO design represents over a decade of refinement driven entirely by feedback from people who actually depend on their knives rather than people who photograph them. The 4.7-inch blade runs a high saber grind with a convex secondary bevel, a compound geometry that survived, arrived at through systematic testing rather than convention, and which produces results that are measurably different from either a pure saber or a pure convex in real field use. The convex secondary on the saber primary creates an apex that is simultaneously more durable under lateral stress than a hollow or flat grind, and more slicey and soft materials than a traditional saber. It is the only geometry in this ranking that does not require you to accept a trade-off between edge strength and cutting efficiency. In our field testing, the GSO 4.7 MagnaCut led every category we measured, battening through a full cord of oak without edge degradation, feather stick quality after 2 hours of sustained carving, edge retention after processing multiple animals, corrosion resistance across a week of continuous wet weather use without oiling, and handle comfort across a full day of mixed intensity tasks. The G10 handle scales are contoured with the kind of three-dimensional shaping that you feel in your palm before you consciously register it. The knife positions correctly in your hand before you think about grip, which is what good ergonomics actually means in practice. The Kydex sheath with multiple carry configuration options is the best sheath in this ranking. In MagnaCut in Survive, S heat treatment, hardened to 62 to 63 HRC through a protocol the company developed over multiple production runs, performs exactly at the ceiling of what the steel's alloy chemistry makes theoretically possible. In 2026, If you're looking for a MagnaCut fixed blade that is actually worth what you spend on it, this is the answer. The field testing data keeps arriving at regardless of how the question is framed. Number 1. The GSO 4.7. Not the loudest knife on the list. The best one. 7 knives, 1 steel. Wildly different outcomes depending on who built it and how seriously they took the heat treatment. That gap between what MagnaCut can do and what a lot of manufacturers are actually getting out of it is the most important story in fixed blade knives right now, and is the reason we made this video. If your budget is under $100, the Civivi Tamashii is a genuine surprise and absolutely worth it. Under $200, the Spyderco Bow River and the White River Sendero are both excellent decisions for different reasons. If you want one knife that does everything at a level you will never feel the need to upgrade from, the Survive GSO 4.7, full stop. Drop what you think about MagnaCut in the comments. I want to know if you have run it in the field and whether the data matches your experience. All links in the description. Feel like if this saved you time or money. Subscribe, new field tests every week. See you next one.